Done.
Good evening to all. On behalf of Academic Council, Indian Society of Emergency and Cardiac Nurses, I welcome you all to the international webinar on patient safety in the emergency department. So in this, I welcome all the participants, and we have Dr. Daisy Thomas with us today, and Dr. Poonam Joshi, Professor T. Samuel Rami Kumar, and Dr. Tirtha Thana. I welcome you all to this webinar. So I will start with what is actually patient safety and why the patient safety is needed. So we have many international studies that have reported that injuries and complications during hospital admissions affect nearly 1 in 10 patients, and that up to 50% are the direct result of errors and therefore preventable. The often cited report is, you all must be knowing, that to err is human, and building a safer healthcare system by the Institute of Medicine, published in 1999. Emphasis that we have to build safety in our health system, not to blame the individual for the past error. In USA, many studies has estimated that up to 98,000 people die every year as a result of injuries and complication in hospital care, and that more than half of these result from the errors that could have been prevented. So this is our Indian Society of Emergency and Cardiac Nurses it is very important topic. That's why we have done this webinar on this topic, and specifically when it comes to the emergency department. So the WHO defines, I would like to tell you the patient safety. Patient safety is basically the absence of preventable harm to a patient during the process of healthcare. What happens in the emergency department is basically the first contact of the patient to the healthcare system. So it is a fast-paced, quick-thinking environment of the emergency that is combined with often sick and complex patient that needs immediate care with little to no not known history. So that can lead to the increased risk of such medical errors and adverse events. So the opportunity for this error has a higher presence in the emergency department compared to the most other clinical settings. But does it mean that it has to occur? No. They are bound to happen in the emergency. So utilizing the strategies and establishing a culture of safety with the commitment of dedicated teams, we can continue to improve safety in our often hectic and fast-paced emergency departments. So over the past decades, patient safety has been recognized as an important global topic, and WHO acts as a major force for the patient safety improvement around the world. Hospital and health systems are nationwide have made significant progress in identifying and improving patient safety outcomes over the past decade. So to move forward this culture of safety in emergency department and to celebrate the Patient Safety Week, that was from the 13th to 19th March of 2022, we have planned this international webinar. So I welcome Dr. Daisy Thomas. She is currently working as a acting vice principal at Rajkumari Amritkaur College of Nursing. So she has a 32 years of experience in clinical and academic field. and she specialized in the field of medical surgical nursing and held the post of he has held the post of registrar at Delhi Nursing Council from 2016 to 2019. She authored a book on medical surgical nursing, and that was published in November 20. So I welcome Daisy ma'am. Hello.
Thank you, Shakuntala.
Yeah, I welcome Daisy ma'am for the inaugural address.
Thank you, Shakuntala. A warm greetings to one and all. It's my proud privilege to be part of this international webinar on patient safety, especially in emergency department. We all know that safety is inexpensive and it is priceless. And safety is not a gadget. It is only a state of mind. Because now, as we all know, this patient safety is now a global agenda itself. We all are striving best that our patients, when they come to our hospital with some discomfort, they should not have adverse effect on them because of some preventable injury or because of some errors. The patient should not have any of the mishappening on the patient. Like in order to achieve this goal, what is important is the change of attitude is necessary. It is possible that if we are adopting certain strategies, we can surely reduce this adverse events. As Shakuntala have described also, it is one of the major cause of death. It is given by WHO that it is 10th leading cause of death and disability in the world. So we have to learn a culture which is developing in such a way that we are able to report and share. Even we should be exchanging the informations on what are the concern with the safety issues. It is not that we should be blaming each other. We should have an openness with each other. And only with the teamwork, we will be able to ensure the safety among our patients. I'm sure this workshop will be able to sensitize our nurses that yes, we will be able to bring some changes among we will be able to reduce the death or errors because of the safety issues. Okay, like so for related to speak on this safety issue, we are having an eminent speakers also here, like Dr. Ravi. He is always there to support the nursing professional as a legend who is there to talk about how to have the safety culture in emergency. And also we are having a very good session on quality assurance in emergency nursing. So I think we will be able to, as nurses, we will be able to translate some of these information in our clinical practice. My best wishes to all the speakers and to our nurses on attending this workshop, this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I would like to welcome Poonam Joshi, ma'am, who is a principal, College of Nursing, AIMS, Kalyani, West Bengal. She was former associate professor in AIMS, and she is a chairperson of academic counseling of Indian Society of Emergency and Cardiac Nurses. So I welcome ma'am for the presidential address.
Thank Shakuntala. Uh, on behalf of ISEM team, I, Dr. Poonam Joshi, welcome our esteemed speakers today. First of all, I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Daisy Thomas, and then I would like to express my gratitude to our eminent speakers today, Dr. Samuel Ravi Kumar and Dr. Thila Ratna, as well as Ms. Shakuntala, who have taken this initiative to talk on patient safety in emergency department. As we all know, that emergency department is a high-risk environment due to the urgency of the care needs and complexity of communication. I'm sorry, you must be hearing some background noises because I had to urgently travel. It was an emergency situation, so I'm speaking from metro. I'm extremely sorry for that. So the emergency is inherently, it's a high risk area, and there to seek urgent care, sometimes routine care. So patient safety becomes a priority in emergency department. So without much ado, I Ms. Shakuntala for initiating this webinar. And once again, congratulations to all the team members who have been actively participating and making our webinar successfully.
So thank you, Poonam ma'am, for taking time, even from your so much busy schedule. So now I welcome Professor T. Samuel Ravi Kumar. He is a trauma nurse coordinator in Christian Medical College, Vellore, Tamil Nadu, and he has a clinical exposure of trauma, specialized training of trauma nursing, mass casualty management, early management of trauma, CPR trainer, quality implementer, and he has done many, Tamil Nadu Explosive Limited, in tsunami responses, Sri Lanka, in Nepal earthquake in Nepal, Chennai flood and cyclone response, Chennai, Kanchipuram, and multiple mass casualty management in the emergency department. He was even in COVID-19. During COVID-19, he was a main coordinator for the COVID-19 team. And I welcome you, sir, in this webinar to give your keynote address, and it is on the safety culture in emergency. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. and Dr. Joshi, Dr. Daisy. And I don't know your name. I don't want to hurt you by wrongly pronouncing it, but I understand that the best way to say is a Sadi, and so in Thai way of greeting from India. So it's a delight. I want to thank Shaukat Ali who called me. And this guy, he always feels that I shouldn't sit quietly in one place. So he caught me and said, get into action and do something like that. So I'm here talking to you about patient safety and safety culture in emergency department. And I understand that there are umpteen number of people listening from YouTube as well. So if you've got your notes ready and papers ready and pen ready, just keep it aside. We are going to think together. We are going to discuss together. We are going to learn together. Whatever I'm presenting, I will forward it as a PDF. You can share it with your friends. So there's nothing like a copyright stuff. So 1,000 in YouTube, that's rather frightening. Okay. So the very idea of this wonderful evening is about patient safety and safety culture. And I'm thankful for Dr. Poonam Joshi, even though she has to move out in emergency, she could not join in and give a greeting. In emergency, we always say a dictum called expect the unexpected. So preparedness is the key factor. But I think without much ado, let me exit out and share the video, the PowerPoint slide so that you will have a better evening. Okay, I think host has to enable me to share the screen. At the moment, I am disabled according to my net.
No, you can share, sir. No.
Got it. Right. Fine. Am I visible? The PPT on a show mode?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to understand about safety culture in emergency care. Now, please do not think safety culture starts in emergency care. No one can get trained in culture. Culture is inborn. Culture is in the blood. So how do we go about doing that? Do you think at the end of this 45-minute session that you're going to become an expert in safety culture? No. So what's going to happen is that we are going to exercise our brain, exercise our heart, so that we think about ways by which we can look at a safety culture, especially in emergency care. I want to appreciate and thank the Indian Society of the Cardiac Critical Care and Emergency Nursing, which is hosting the program. So I hope and pray that my address or my sharing will be a little wider focus of those who work in emergency and critical care. So it's not only with the emergency. So let me put it in that way and go on. Now, what baseline is an emergency? We need to understand that. It's easy to sit in a room with a cup of coffee or in a lounge to listen to sessions. But in reality, when you are in the clinical area with a patient who comes like this in front of you, where you become very conscious about the massive blood loss, the hemorrhage, your mindset works very clearly and you're very careful to put all your personal protective equipment. And then you guard yourself and care to get the blood or the infusion back to the patient. But if the same time, if a patient comes with a bruise, with a minimal blood, then our mindset says, that's okay, that's not frightening, that's not a big blood. So you tend to even put one gauze piece without even wearing the glove. Now that patient could be a biohazard patient, okay? Now why is that so? So our mindset says is caution when there's a massive blood, but the same mindset works in a different fashion when it's a bruise. So that is why when we talk about an emergency, in critical care, we are going to talk about how to get that culture inside us. So as I keep speaking, I will be sharing few case studies without quoting the name and identity of the individual so that it will be applied rather than theoretical. So that's my baseline understanding and idea. So what is an emergency situation? Number one, unconventional response. You are trained for CPR, trained for ACLS, ATLS, MTLS, ADLS. Well, you have trained everything, but the scenario may be unconventional, like a cardiopulmonary resuscitation given right over the trolley. Whereas you are trained at the ground level on the floor. Usually we do like that, or you are trained on a trolley in your CPR training on a bed. But here, this is unconventional, something different. So how is our mindset working on the safety concept on this? So how am I going to be alert when I talk about the pressure that I'm going to put on the patient, my body weight, and different things of the ACLS in an unconventional response? The second thing that is going to be a concern for us is accuracy versus precision. Now, what is accuracy and precision? Two different English words. I'll come to a later slide and expand it a little more. But I want you to understand that in emergency, we work like that kind of a scenario. And what is the third one that we work with? Speed and focus. So many times in emergency, what do people want? They want everything to be done in seconds. They want, because that's how it has to be. Every second counts in the emergency care, be it adrenaline, be it stroke patient, acute stroke, be it a cardiac arrest, be it a massive bleeding trauma, Okay, uncontrolled bleeding, trauma, name it, and then you will have to go pretty fast, but you have to be very specific. So that's a big challenge when you work in emergency, and it's becoming a much more challenge when you talk about a safety culture. So how do we go about on this? So when you look at emergency, there are a few more things that I'll add. Number one, unexpected. So that is why people who work in emergency, critical care, always get yourself trained for unexpected. So that's why the dictum I said in the beginning, expect the unexpected. So its mindset has to be like that. It's like a tactic, military warfare kind of. The second thing why it's becoming very disturbing is affecting human, not only the limb, it's more than the limb, the life. Okay. And speed, your speed with which you have to manage. Now the fourth one is very crucial, high stress. Now when I say high stress, I'm not talking only about the patient care. I'm also talking about your personal aspect. Okay, you would have come on duty asking for leave. Okay, your child is not well at home. No one there at home. You have left it with your neighbor and you have come over there on duty. But situation is such that they are not able to give you leave, and there is a cardiac arrest patient comes at that moment. Now you will have to manage your cardiac arrest resuscitation. And one corner of your mind keeps telling about your child alone at home, where you have to return back and take care of the kid. Now that is, it's a real struggle within you to have that high stress. It's like a burnout. Okay, so it's not something like easy to speak about. Just like that, create a culture we are all safe. So we work under high stress. Even you look at the personnel you work with. Okay, your resuscitation room, your post. Now you have somebody else who's posted with you, with whom you are not talking for 2 days for some reason. I don't know, it could be silly because she took the sugar packet that you had for your cup of coffee, or I don't know, something like that, some friction between the two of you. Now you two work together and there comes a trauma, you have to coordinate, you have to speak to each other. So again, you may speak, but there's a burnout. So that's on high stress. Your decision making. In emergency, you need to make a lot of decisions quick. Now, how are you going to make a decision? Is it going to be emotional, or is it influenced rational, or a combination of both? Let me give you a scenario. 25-year-old man who had come to emergency. He had fallen on a what do we call a pump set, an electrical, something like that, a pump set. And then he had burnt and he is critical. So you really, you're resuscitating, you're giving the cardiac compression and all that is going on. So suddenly somebody is whispering or somebody speaking loud and saying, this man, why he got electrocuted, why he fell on the pump, motor pump? Because he was attempting to rape a girl. And that is why he fell in. Now what happens to you? Now once you heard you're suppressing on a person who had attempted to rape a young girl, then you will not stop your CPR, but inevitably your mind plays a role on your body, and your speed may not be the same, pressure may not be the same, or you are struggling between your what we call ethical thinking as well as your emotional. Now, in a little later, after some time, let us say the patient is lost and patient dies, and then when you are getting ready to keep the body, then somebody comes and running and saying, see what happened, actually, he's not the one who was attempting to rape. There was one person who was attempting to rape, and this man went and helped the girl and prevented that man from raping, in which he fell on this pump or motor pump and got injured, and poor fellow is dead. Now, you see, within seconds, your mental frame is twisted. Life-saving, then you thought he is the culprit, and you got worried about your effort that you are doing. Then you lost him and come to know that he's actually a hero and he's not the villain. So your mindset plays a dilly-dallying inside in emergency. Okay? So inevitably, we don't verbalize it outside, but it's important to look at. Of course, pain is crucial, both the physical and psychological, and your in that life and death. One of the assignments that I give to the nursing students is that I always ask them about define life in their own perspective. So one student wrote, life is like ice cream. It will melt away, so better eat it fast or enjoy it quick. Well, that's our definition, but besides. Now that's fine. So you may say, sir, this is all cool and cucumber in the US, in UK, where you have one patient scenario, you have one ER room and one patient, two nurses, two doctors, full trauma team working. Maybe that's what you may see in your trauma center of the AIM. Fine. But in over the country, it is not exactly the same. It's called the pressure cooker situation. I don't know how many of you, I have worked in scenario like this. Okay, we speak a lot about the safety, patient safety, quality, but in reality, when you come, 8 patients come in same time, 20 patients come in same time, you have only 10 trolleys and you're stuck in the corridor. Now, who cares for, who knows who's caring for whom? So that becomes a big challenge, even patient identity. If you have 2% of the, what they call the sound alike or the name alike, then you are deep trouble. Where's the safety? So if you just yell Ravi in that corridor, the name, I'm sure 4 people will respond, to patient related. So which one are we going to address when we talk about a safety culture? So here now I come to this component of what we call the precision versus accuracy. So remember I told earlier. Now in emergency care, you see there are 4 specific designs that are given over here. Now ideally you are looking at the bullseye, that is the center spot where you want it. You look at the right side, at the last one, that is all the dots or the arrows have gone to the bullseye. So absolutely accuracy, meaning precision is one time hitting. Accuracy is one time, precision is repetitively same place correct. So you got both right. For example, in a day, how many drug errors are there in emergency department? If you say 0, that means you have been giving the drug, every drug that has been verbally ordered and written order has been executed exactly with no error. So that means you have reached to the stage of precision and accuracy to them. But if you look at the left extreme, you may be precise, have been recurrently correct in the same place, but that may be the wrong thing. So that is a danger. So it may be a system problem or it may be a behavior problem of the staff. Or if you look at, you may be very accurate, but you are far-fetched from the center point. Or the third one, worst case scenario, neither you are precise nor you are accurate. So if you look at a staff who's working there, or any even 3-time recurrent coming or 2-time recurrent coming within a day, you get alert. You question the system. You question the behavior of the individual who has not done the error. So that is where precision versus accuracy. So we are expected to be precise, that means accurate every moment. Okay, you may miss out something. For example, intubation. Now, in a 4 intubations per day, it is possible that one can be into the esophageal, and within seconds you identify and you extubate and then you oxygenate the patient and then reintubate, and keeping the oxygen level good enough so that the patient doesn't go into hypoxia. Yes, that is within the precision. But we are not talking about that every time it has to be accurate. But when you take about nursing, you will be looking at a scenario like drug administration. How many falls? You take a week, how many patients fell down from falls? So if it has been 0, that means your safety culture is so good that either you've got a protective measure of the mechanical or human around and ensure that the patient has never a fall from the fall. I'm giving an example. Okay, so now we come to the core, that is the patient safety culture is very critical. Now, please remember, time factor, I have stuck only with patient safety culture, but actually patient safety culture goes with your safety. They are interconnected. You cannot say, I read a book titled Employee First, Customer Next. That was very interesting because generally people say customer first and the employee next. Keep the customer happy. But that book says employee first, meaning if the employee is happy, then customer is happy. Okay, he'll ensure that the customer is happy. You cannot make the customer happy at the cost of employees, dissatisfaction. Okay, so if you look at here, patient safety culture is interconnected with your safety. So it goes together. It has to be ergonomic, it has to be safe and sound. Okay, and of course, the second point speaks about the high-paced, unpredictable nature, which I explained a little while ago. So where does the safety culture comes in? So it gives 3 important things. Number 1, situation awareness, being aware of the work environment that you work with, the loudness, the sound, the blood, the depth. This is how you are going to see it every day. So your system has to prepare you, for to handle it accordingly. Then, of course, the communality, that is your togetherness, coherence. I may differ in my opinion with you. I may verbalize and differ with you. But when it comes to patient care, we are together. We are together to achieve the end point of patient safety. And of course, cooperation between organization, supervisors. Now, leader play a very important role. This is something you need to understand. In my experience, I've seen most of the staff exhibit. I think I'll come to that a little later when I'm going to give it the examples when I talk. So now we come to the term called the safety culture. Now, what is the WHO? I'll give you two definitions. One is the WHO, the other one is the, I don't know the source, but a good one. So safety culture is actually value, attitude, perception, competency, and patterns of behavior. Now tell me, where does your value begin, your attitude begin, perception, competency? Okay, your value, attitude, perceptions all begin from home, from school. So if you are going to park your vehicle in an unsafe manner, if you are going to drive a vehicle without license, if you are going to drive a vehicle without helmet, then you cannot expect a safety in emergency because your mindset is not prepared for. There was one picture photography of a couple standing and kissing each other in Paris railway station. Okay, I understand. The whole France kind of was very upset. Okay, now I thought they were upset because they were kissing in public. In France, kissing in public is not a big deal. Well, I haven't been to France. Probably I should give one visit, I think. On a lighter note, okay. So they were standing in the railway platform and the picture was on the paper. People were very upset. They said, how can you do that? You both are standing beyond the yellow line. In platform, there is a yellow line. You are not supposed to go beyond the yellow line because for your safety. So here, it was not a question of kissing in public. It was a question of you are doing something which the younger generation will see and will also cut the yellow line. So you look at the imbibed culture. So that is very, very important. Somehow we are quite comfortable with negative. See, even I'm very happy today the program started sharp at 6 o'clock. My sincere appreciation and kudos to all of you, the organizers. But if you really look at that, we always say something like Indian standard, meaning coming late. No, that's not acceptable. It is our attitude and value that is the core thing of So this is an interesting definition. It's a behavioral climate. I like the word, behavioral climate. Now, what's a climate? Climate is an environment. It could be internal, it could be external. So what runs outside is always based on what goes in. So that's why a dictum says the what mind does not know, the eyes, what the mind does not know, the eyes cannot. So if you look at emergency people, when a patient comes with OP poisoning, even before they reach, they'll get the smell and say, oh my God, poison patient, OP poison coming. So even if a trauma patient is coming, yelling in the corridor, shouting and saying, kidhar hai, udhar hai, like, whatever he's shouting, then your mindset of the emergency trauma nurse in ER would say, okay, airway is okay. Patient is talking. He's shouting like hell. That means B is okay. So you see, the whole idea is that it's a behavioral climate. Your mindset works like that because you are trained into that. So how do I imbibe the safety culture inside? So let's look at culture, which exists on 3 levels. Okay, the 3 levels of the symbolic, that's the deep culture. Okay, and the second is the behavioral. It's a deep and surface. The concrete is surface. So in our culture, we exhibit through our behavior. So that is, when I say symbolic, it is like, how we put it this way. It's called temporal proximity. Temporal proximity. So you go to a ward, you walk into the ward, on the last bed, there is a ventilator standing. So your mindset says, oh my God, this patient is very sick. So you go near the patient to see, actually the ventilator was not connected to the patient. It was kept in a corner. So in other words, your mind symbolically interprets, leads to a behavior. So that is our deep culture. So we are all oriented to our deep culture. Okay. So that is why what becomes very important is our two core things, our values and beliefs, and what we do and how we communicate. So these two become our core. Without understanding this, we cannot talk about a safety culture. So when we talk about a safety culture, we need to understand what culture do I belong to? What's my behavioral model? What are my values and beliefs? Okay, this becomes very important. One author says that we are a walking belief system. Okay, we are a walking belief system. We do have a certain belief. I'm sure when ma'am speaks from Thailand, they'll talk about the belief system in Thailand. I just read that the Kanken Hospital of Thailand was built in 1947. 1947 is the year where we got our independence. So when I read 1947, the Kanken Hospital in Thailand was built, for me, I immediately interpret, oh, that's during my independence, our independence. So you see, it's connected, the values and beliefs are connected. So you cannot work separately. I'm professionally an emergency nurse, but I have nothing to do. I'll come inside emergency, practice safety culture. I go home, I will not practice it. It cannot. So that is what we need to understand. That's why I'm spending a little time on this. That is creating the concept of culture before going into the safety culture. I'm not going to give a lot of book pictures because you would have trained on that. I'm going to give a lot of practical application thinking. I hope I am in the right time as well. I should keep a watch on that. Where safety culture baseline is a mindset. Okay, it's an attitude, like what Dr. Daisy Man said in the beginning. No, it's a mindset, it's an attitude. So that's how the whole thing. So what is the picture that you see? The picture that you see is the child imitating the mother. Okay, like how to put the lips. Okay. So I'm sure you remember your kids back home talking about daughters. Okay, I'm sure the boys will be looking at how daddy shaves, like that they shave. Now, what am I trying to say? Safety culture is basically an imitation in the clinical area. That's the point I was trying to tell earlier. You look at all of you who are listening to me, I think 1,000 people, I think. Just think of yourself. Two questions with me after. Number one, in the ward that you work, you will find the staff certainly carry some trait of their supervisor or the head of the department. If the head of the department is a cool person, the team will be little cool. Not all the time, but they'll have a cool nature. But if the head of the department is restless, the team will be restless. If the big boss or the supervisor is always smiling, inevitably the team will pick up the smile. So in other words, we imitate. We imitate our seniors, we imitate our supervisors, and we imitate and slowly become. Okay, like how children become their parents, we also become them. So that is why please remember, every one of us, whether you accept it or not accept it, is a model to each other. Be it in positive way, be it in negative way. We are a model. Once you come into prominence, you are a model. You look at that person and say, either you admire and say, oh, I want to become like that. Or you say, oh my God, I never want to be. What is my second question? The second question is, who is your favorite teacher? Your favorite subject in nursing is connected to your favorite teacher. You like the subject because you like the teacher. Which is the ward, clinical area you don't like in your posting? You will find it has nothing to do with the clinical area. It has to do with the clinical instructor. So you don't like the clinical instructor, you don't like the clinical area. So it's interconnected. So safety culture is like circling in and around. So that means, what are we trying to say? It is a core value of emergency, of our lifestyle, safety. Okay, so let me move on because of the time factor. 18:39 should be okay. What is the paradigm shift? Now, if you really look at in 1980s, the watch. Okay, I'm an admirer of watch. I have a watch collection. In 1980s, you see the watch, famous watch was Seiko and Citizen. This company was the more famous, watches. Okay, so Seiko and Citizen. Now there came a technology called watch. Now, Seco and Citizen and many of the Swiss companies, sorry, not Seco Citizen, the Swiss company said, that's okay. We are the famous in the world for watchmaking. Still they are famous. I'm not changing the opinion. But they didn't want to take up the quartz concept. So what happened, Citizen Seco took over the whole world. The Japanese mechanism of quartz, even now most of the watch we use are quartz mechanisms. So that's called the paradigm shift. So what was the earlier paradigm? When there is an unsafe environment, we always focus operator error. So we say it is because of that person made the mistake. Behavior of the person. No, it's very difficult to work with that person. So we brand, we stereotype individuals. But what is the new way to look at focus on the culture and the system and the influence of the behavior? So I'm not saying the individual escapes out of this, but what I'm saying is that look at the system. If your system has an unsafe mechanism, okay, so the whole lot will go off. Okay, for example, you take this paper. If I take this paper and keep it on my head, and over a period it will fall down. 5 times it will fall down. Why? Because the paper has no capacity to remain in a place, it will move on. So that's the unsafe system. So if I keep on doing and you blame me, then the whole thing is problem. I am also blamable, no doubt on that. But what about the system? What about the culture? How safe is the culture? So that is the primary focus that we need to look at. So when you look at a schematic way, you look at where do you stand? Very high. It's green. Patient safety is job number 1. We live and breathe it. And culture process, everything is on safety. So that is the main focus. I know many of you drive for your duty. So when you drive for duty, what do? You do systematically. You don't even know, sometimes when you are not on duty also, you drive on the same road because you're habituated in that way. How many of us put our seat belt? When you're habituated, that's my safety, automatically. But the very low is where you find recurrent threats and recurrent dangers, that errors that happen. Mainly because it's associated with the 3 factors of the safety culture, your process of doing it, and the technology behind it. Okay. So that is why, I think Guanda is the author who wrote about checklist manifest. Why checklists are very important. You see, pilots, they always have a complete checklist. You will also have a checklist, your code blue, card, your crash card checklist. Now, point is, are we doing it very sincerely or are we ticking it off every day? Okay, most of us will come on the day, your friend is on the previous shift. Hi, all is well. Okay, I'm getting back fast. What else? Okay, all is well. Everything is effective. So you tick it out, you put the thing, and he says bye, you say bye, run off, and finally, when you're going to intubate a patient, you take the laryngoscope, the light is not glowing. Okay, so when the light is not glowing, you have a problem. You said, okay, get the next one. You're not able to get the next one. Hypoxic encephalopathy for the patient. Patient goes into hypoxia, you struggle a lot. And finally, some error happens, and then you pull out your laryngoscope separately and open up, and you have put a new 2 battery, no doubt on that. But the staff on the previous shift who had put the 2 new battery didn't take the tip, the tip of the battery will be capped with plastic. So that plastic was not removed. So without that being removed, the laryngoscope will not work. So when you did the checklist checking, you checked the tick without checking it. So at the time of a life threatening for a patient, could not be done because the light was not. So never take it as a routine and tick it off. Good friends, perfect, but not an emergency. I insist on that with my team. Okay, my team, I don't call them staff nurses. I call them emergency. I say, call yourself emergency. Put a label, emergency nurse, trauma nurse, ownership. No? So that means look at it in that way and move forward with it. Okay, so you can look at here, your culture. So nursing macro culture, physician macro culture, hospital culture, all of that comes to your emergency department. So it doesn't happen like that overnight. So last patient, you had taken some decision which was ethically correct, but somehow the environment did approve that. They really punished you for that or said something very unhappy about you. So next time what you do, you don't want to take account of it. You say, last time I did it, I landed in sick. I don't want to do it like that. So what happens? The culture. We influence each other. Okay. If you go for a medical rounds for a period of time, you get their way of style of communication, even communication. See, most of us, what we do, healthcare team, even in if you take coffee break also, we talk about the hospital problem. We don't take a break. That's a break time. So what is the meaning of a break time? Is to come out of your pressure of the work. But there also, no, we'll be saying this what happened, that's what happened, that fellow did like that, she did like that. So you really, whole thing gets burned out. So when you come to micro culture, then it's a sum total. So name any hospital, AIM, CMC, okay, RAK. You name the, I'm just telling whichever comes to my mouth, Apollo. Okay, any hospital, name it. Every organization, even other, not even hospital, good proof. You take TCS, name any company, anything. It has its own culture. Okay. So how do I know the culture of that hospital? Think of your emergency room. Can you tell me in one word, how will you describe your emergency nurse? Don't tell me now, but think about it. That one word answer is the culture of your, what we call emergency. I asked this question once to the people, your name in one word about America. So they said America is democracy. Then I said about Japan, hard work. Okay, and then I asked about India. They said hospitality. One word, everybody says hospitality. India is open. You go to many other Western countries, they are not open. They will say a little reluctant, okay, to take it. But here India is not like that. You can just go and knock and introduce myself. Can I have a cup of chai? Oh, please come in. As far as things are safe, right out. Okay, so that's the micro. Now comes to this. This one slide will sum total everything. So don't ask me then why don't you show this one slide and finish this session? Okay, I'm trying to expand it so that it explains in a simple manner. Okay, the first one, let's look at the context. The system factor. The safety culture is dependent on the ED crowding. Having 3 patients and 6 nurses is different from having 6 nurses and 16 patients. Okay, your environment of care, your resources, how fast are they available, your supplies and equipment. What are the patient factors? Patient expectations. Okay, the patient says my expectations are different. Suppose now you listen to my session and you have an headache and go to emergency room and tell them, I am having headache listening to this guy who kept on blah blah safety culture. No, I am serious headache. Now your vitals are stable, but you have one more patient coming at the same time with headache, with BP very high. Surely the emergency department will attend to them. But what will be your expectation? You will say, look, he has a problem. I am not affecting him, but I have an headache. Please look at me. Why are you categorizing me as priority 3? I have a headache. What have you written? Oh, board, board, emergency. So emergency means I am emergency. The patient expectation, acuity of the illness, the stress that goes on. These are all influences of safety. So when somebody comes and push you, somebody shouts loud. So what do? You say, oh my God, I'll sort out this issue. So you change the priority 3 to 2 because the person is demanding. Okay, so priority 2. So you lose one of the priority 2 trolley to a priority 3 walking patient because of the pressure. Okay, and it will snowball at one point when you have a real priority 2 patient coming in, no trolley, then you burn. And your safety goes for a subsequent. Okay, then staff factors. Okay, what is my knowledge on this subject? What is my knowledge on CPR, emergency? Did I come and join for emergency or am I posted in emergency? Some of us work only in emergency and trauma, but some are rotated. Yesterday I am in OB-GYN, day before yesterday I was in OPD, today I am in emergency. Well, that's not my bread butter job. Why are you pushing me into this? Okay, so your time management, your teamwork, and very crucial is your leadership. Let go. I am with you, shoulder to shoulder. Okay, like a field marshal, they should be at the ground reality, not to only be like a policeman to supervise. I'm sure at least some of you are smiling when I'm speaking this quietly. Okay, now you see it's connected. A patient perception of ED, okay, is connected with the system factor. So he says, why this place is so crowded? Poor management, according to patient perception. Patient perception of staff. See, every patient evaluates us. He like that sister is very nice. That brother is very nice. He's smiling. He's active. He's good. Okay, they are judging us, they are calculating us. I know we don't change our behavior because of that, but be aware that we are being consciously being observed for our success, our performance. And of course, the staff perception. So what is my competency in CPR, in trauma, in disaster? Okay, whatever that. Actually, each point we can go elaborate, but for time factor, I'm kind of moving a little fast. Okay, what are the ED change models? We need change models. System change and staff model. So these are two main things that we need. So if time permits, I can come back to this and explain it later, but I'll now look at outcomes. So when you have a good change model, safety culture system model by training, if you look at then the outcome will be phenomenally. Okay, you look at your patient experiences improved, the quality of the care, efficacy, okay, increase patient compliance, improve staff satisfaction. So inevitably the performance will be safer. Okay, now these are crucial things for solution. These are solutions. How do I get safety culture? Number one, openness. I had my training for 2 weeks in Israel and in trauma, mass casualty management. That's the first thing they said, open. We don't bother what you say. We will not agree to what you say, but better speak up. Because if you want to make a change, you need to verbal. So that's one thing. Second, feedback on communication about error. This is very, very important. I did one error when I became my career as a tutor. I was dilly-dallying. It was not that difficult. It was not a big error. It was sorted out immediately. But then I had to report to my AR authority. I know I'll get a memo for that. I may even not continue with the tutor post. I may be even shut it out. But I said, no, that's not what. I need to verbalize. I cannot be quiet. So I went and told my supervisor. My supervisor was so good enough. She corrected me and didn't go further on. But being a teacher, you better behave properly like that. That made a lot of change in me to look at how cautious I became from then on. So feedback and communication. Frequency of events and hand off is very, very important. Hand off is a handing over. In Western, they use the word hand off. I'm using the word handing over, shift handing over. Between two shifts when you hand over, and that's when crucial. Some of the time, I know my staff, the team who work, there are some staff who will never let the other person go. They will say, tell me, finish your documentation. Many times people come and tell me, sir, very difficult to give handover to the person. One Foley catheter that has to be replaced. I have told another person, the relative has gone to buy it and come, they will give it. But the staff who's taking over said, no, you wait till that relative gives that Foley catheter into the stock item, then you can. So some people are the extreme of thorough perfection. Then there is the other end of the spectrum, this cool man, you go, I take over, tick everything, checklist tick, inventory tick, start handing over tick, patient tick, everything is tick. Both are answered. And that is the culture that you need to be conscious of. Then management support of patients, the administration. No punitive response to error. Now that may sound funny. How is that there will not be any punishment? No, punishment is according to the severity of them. It is not same for everyone. Like, drug error, there are classifications of drug error. And, many extreme to the causing harm to the patient to having not gone into the mouth of the patient. Medication error. Not drug error, medication error. So you see the punitive action is varied. So, but if you give same for every, then people get burned. This is very, 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 very important. Continuous learning. So you need to continue to learn. I have retired, I'm 63 now, but for me, I love to learn. Give me trauma, I come and learn. Okay, I'm waiting to come to AIM to look at how trauma coordination, trauma care, I needed to learn. There's no end to learn. So organizational learning environment is very crucial. Overall perceptions of patient safety. Staffing, number of staff. Supervisor manager expectation. Transparency should be for safety culture. I expected this. You just don't tell them without telling them what you expect. Teamwork across the unit and within the unit. How good are you, gelling as a team? Okay, this is a lovely statement. We don't redesign humans. We redesign the system within which humans work. You cannot change me. I am a naughty person. Even though I'm a professor retired, I'm still naughty. Okay, but formally I'll be very formal. But if I'm going to be relaxed with you, I'll bully you, or I'll not bully you, just have some humor or fun with you. Okay, so we don't change. Okay, do you think Dr. Daisy Thomas has changed? She is now the principal, so she will be very polished and sitting and smiling. But deep down, her naughtiness still may be there. Every one of us for that reason. But so what we need to do, look at the system. When you redesign a system, inevitably people tend to change. How do you do that? That is called a neuroplasticity. Now, what is a neuroplasticity? The brain's ability to change throughout your life. I was naughty in my school days, but when I became a teacher, my naughtiness was there, but it was not open, visible, because I'm a teacher. My naughtiness and sense of humor never was exhibited in the clinical area of the emergency department, because there are patients suffering, there are patients with pain, there's blood, life, and death. So I could never ever think of a single iota of humor within clinical area. So that is the brain's ability to change throughout your life. So if you can have a safety culture system that will let people change. So that will be experience-dependent neuroplasticity and self-directed neuroplasticity. Okay, that's too big. I will give that example of stethoscope in here. I believe in great point communication among adolescents. So the nursing students, they're very happy. Sometimes they're very happy. We tend to say, why are you all laughing and smiling? But I tell them, laugh and smile, be happy. Why you get worried about not laughing and always serious face, not necessary. So what do I do? Great point communication. When students come to emergency department, if they don't bring the stethoscope, I don't send them to the resuscitation. I don't scold them. I don't jump on them. I don't give any punishment. You are not entering resuscitation, which means you will not be able to see intubation. You will not be able to learn active learning the factors on day one. So when she goes back on day 2, she will ensure that she comes with stethoscope. Now this message will go to the dining hall in the staff and student nurses office. Or you posted emergency, better go with stethoscope. Otherwise, you cannot enter resuscitation. This is called neuroplasticity. Don't push. Okay, otherwise it's a technique in psychology. I'm not having it. Okay, I think we should move on to conclude, I think, because it's nearly 7 o'clock. The right personnel, the right environment, the right decision making. Okay. How many minutes can I go further?
You can continue, sir.
How long more?
Let it as per your
5, 10
convenience.
5, 10
You
minutes?
can, yeah, you can continue. We have 2 hours, so you can continue.
Oh, perfect. Thank
No problem.
you. Because I don't want to rush. At the same time, I don't want to miss out on crucial points.
So
Thank you.
that's great. You go ahead, sir.
So when you look at the right personnel, the point 1 is that you look at people who are appropriately trained. Okay, so training becomes mandatory. It is a mandatory requirement that every person who works in emergencies and ATLS trained, CPR trained, and those who are at disaster level, they should be trained at MTLS and ADLS. Now, what is MTLS? Is military trauma life support, and ADLS is the advanced disaster life support. You can even go for AHLS, that is advanced hazmat life support. Okay, so you need to be hazmat trained, hazardous material trained. You need to be trained in a disaster. So you need to be, competent in that. So that's the right person. That will reduce the vulnerability of your unsafe environment. So that becomes very crucial. So you have people who are trained for that. They know what to watch for, what to look. 2, right environment. That becomes very crucial. Okay, you just having personnel, what do they use? You have a patient who comes with tension pneumothorax. Okay, you know what to do, but you don't have even a needle, whiteboard needle to put in for the intercostal space to let the air out. And having done that, you're not able to convert into a chest. I'm talking about India. I'm not talking about AIMS or CNG or high-tech place. I'm talking about across the country. So my talk for today is ED safety culture in emergency India, pan-India. So, I mean, we shouldn't say, oh my God, we're talking about something that doesn't happen in my emergency room. Perfect, no problem, good. But what about, look at the other place, people burn out, people are stressed. Right in front, there's a patient tension pneumothorax. There's a trained person, but there's no chest drain, isn't it? So you cannot go about on. So you need the right environment, meaning properly equipment, the monitor, the equipment that are necessary. Okay, so this is crucial. Third, the right decision making. I think it's Max Lucado, I forgot who said that. Max Lucado, who said that when you put a ladder and climb on the wall to reach somewhere, please ensure that your ladder is on the right wall. After you climb all the way up, don't say, oh my God, I am on the wrong wall. And you have to start from scratch. So right decision making involves being guided, trained in decision. Decision making requires training. Okay, it's not like buying a pen. In everything from that to choosing your spouse, if you have a choice, choosing one spouse, by the way, let's be loud and clear. Okay, so choosing your spouse, so everything is a decision making. When does your decision making begin? First thing in the morning. Your alarm, you keep an alarm. So you have two choices. Switch off, go back to sleep. Switch off, get out of bed. What do you do depends upon what is the activity for the day. If you are going for picnic on that day, you will never even sleep in the night. But if you are going to be something like something pressurizing, you will switch off. Some of us have the bad habit of keeping two alarms. Every day, two alarms, 6 o'clock, 6:50. So when you keep two alarms, what happens? You are telling your brain. Your mind knows at 6 o'clock alarm, your brain will tell your body, don't worry. There is 15 minutes later, there's one more alarm. So you can get up at that. So your mind itself is confused. So right decision making requires training. The right process, the sequence of running, simple, CPR. Everything in emergency works with algorithm. It's lovely to see algorithm in emergency. Okay, you can't work other way around, but in emergency, algorithms certainly do run. So you need a prompt, timely critical intervention, timely assessment, investigation, and all that. The right result. But we have to foresee what are the endpoints should be visibly on. Okay, and the right approach. Okay, we had the approach is very, very important. We get extraordinary approach. We had a patient who came with the envenomation. There is a blood, snake envenomation, fang mark on the foot, but no poison on the body. They brought the snake also. Usually they come with the snake. They brought the snake. This is the snake. We said, oh my God, now the snake is a poisonous one. Fang mark is there. Why is that? So what we did, we took the snake to our, there's a small area where we cut the snake and found there's a big rat inside the snake. So what the snake had done is that the snake had first chipped its fang on the rat, engulfed the rat. So the poison, the complete poisoning capacity of the snake has gone with the rat. In seconds, this man had walked where it fanged again for self-defense with no point. So that's bizarre. So when you look at the right approach, it's a critical thinking that you need at that junction. It's always not a book picture with a picture. Okay? Of course, the right system and the right support that you need from your higher on the team. Okay, let's look at some of the domains that can have quality. I'm sure man from Thailand will be sharing, so I'm not touching that, but I'm going to look at few key words. One, safety is that thing. The third one is patient center, which is the primary. So always remember patient center. If your patient center is the boss, who's the HOD in the hospital? Patient. Okay, if patient is your boss, nobody can touch. I worked in academic and clinical. Okay, I was a tutor, clinical, and professor, and then retired, but I work in the clinical and I also teach in the college. So I always say my salary is paid by two persons, one by the student, one by the patient. So that's why I keep reading. I need to be accountable to the student and to the patient. So always be patient-centered, which will take you a long distance in your life. Timely, like getting married. Okay, timely getting married is crucial. Exactly. So don't wait. Efficient, avoiding waste. Avoiding waste is like what do you call? Sometimes we hyperuse the resources and struggle when we desperately need. Okay, equitable. Every patient gets that. Depending upon the severity of illness, the care goes. Teamwork, and I think I've already said some of this. I will not I say, okay. Now this is your certificate. Now what is the certificate? This is not the certificate given by today's program. Okay, today's program, you take a printout like this and you sign it, write down the date, maintaining safety culture in emergency. I committed myself to ensure safety to all patients in emergency room at all times. So before I go to the end of the slide, I wanted to emphasize the crucial thing. Number one is the system. Be open, okay, and share so that the system will be correct. I worked for a few years in Kerala, and I told the students over there, I said, don't break the rule. Worst case scenario, we'll change the rule. Okay, you come and tell us, sir, this is not working good. We want to change it. Yeah, we will change it, but don't break it. So that's exactly what happens in safety. Bring about the system should be such that there is a concept called zero preventable death. So safety culture is our priority one. System. Two, persistent training on safety as a norm. Make that a habit, not a hobby. So I didn't want to go on detail on neuroplasticity. By doing it recurrently again and again, you come into the culture of safety like a kid. But you become conscious of your safety. So be aware of developing a system where openness is there. Have equitable training to all. Third one is application. So review your application, audit your application. Emergency nursing, very crucial. We don't much audit our staff. We need to audit our nursing care. We need to audit errors. So nursing care audits become primary. I think we didn't want to go too much on the theoretical side of it. And I've attempted to do justice by sharing with few examples the relevance of building a culture from back home to your emergency department, not the reverse. So I think we will do a better job on that. Let me conclude with Ubuntu. Now, Ubuntu is an African interesting word. Okay, I like this. I learned this 10 years back. There was an anthropologist, it's a story. An anthropologist went to a village, collected 100 children and kept a suite 100 meters away. Not 120 children and kept suite away. And he told, run and take the suite. So they all walked together, took the suite together, sat in a circle and shared the suite and ate together. So the anthropologist called them and said, why is that you didn't run and pick up, whereas you shared, all of you sat together and ate the suite? The answer they gave was the African word called Ubuntu. Now, Ubuntu means I am because we are. No one is an individual. No one is an island. An emergency care department is we are. There is no I am. I am is only God. I am is only God. So I cannot go I am. So I think I am because we are. And I think that's a wonderful opportunity that we have gathered as an international webinar by the Society of the Cardiac, Critical and Emergency Care. And it is not because I am, but because they are. I think with that note, I conclude and thank the organizers and Shakuntala Madam and Dr. Daisy and Dr. Joshi for this wonderful. I look forward eagerly waiting for ma'am from Thailand for her address. And I think there are any clarification questions, I think we can keep it to the end and be on to that. That's it. Thank you.
So thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us with the practical aspects how to improve the patient safety cultures in emergency department. So I would like to tell all the questions from the participants that from Manjunath has the question you that, sir, you said that we will learn by observing others with the example of mother and child. In that way,
Yes, I'm listening.
yes. So in that way, what did you learn important by imitation or observation, sir?
Oh, imitation. of the our. So our learning is a sum total. If you ask me personally, I look at my models. My models are there in emergency doctor. Okay, so I'm learning how he handled the patient care, his communication stuff. I have seen emergency nurses senior, how they were doing their role in the emergency department. I have seen my housekeeping, how they are so meticulous in their work and they take a ownership. My learning doesn't come only from the bigger, what the so-called leaders. It's surrounding me. So my learning was observing, observation, the hallmark of emergency department. So observing and attempting to imitate. Whatever said and done, there's a big philosophical question. How much of you is you? Okay, you are a sum total of many factors. At the same time, you are unique by yourself. So I would have had my own style of giving emergency care, but I have influence on by other people, both positively and negatively. Sometimes I would have looked at some style and become arrogant in my approach and would have got hit by that, and then I would have corrected me. So that's the answer for observation and imitation. Any other?
Yeah. Sir, Manjunath again has asked that what are your thoughts or message you want to give to the future budding nurses regarding this patient safety culture in emergency and other departments also?
Okay, same. If you take not only emergency, so the rule number one is the mindset. See, the rule number one, which I've been emphasizing all throughout, is that safety culture is not learned from book. Safety culture is learned from our person. So what is the younger generation? We are talking about the younger generation. So what is the younger generation that we need to look at is that safety becomes a part within me. Okay, let it be labor room, let it be emergency room, let it be a rehabilitation center, let it be outpatient OPD. Outpatient department, be it anywhere. Okay, my mindset has to say that, look, let's be alert for safety. So it is not like, okay, I am in emergency, I'll be totally alert for safety. Now I am off duty, I'm going home, I need not be safe. No, it is inbreeding, it goes inside our body. So wherever you work, make it your point. Okay, read about safety, learn about safety, watch movies on safety. Okay, and watch about programs that are on safety. I don't know, one of being me in disaster, I spend most of my time watching movies associated with disaster. I saw not a movie, I saw the YouTube program on the kids who are caught in the cave. Okay, so I read about that. I was taken aback. I read completely the timeline, how the children were inside the cave underwater, how the diving team came, how long they took and how they brought them out. So what happens, the body system starts training itself on this. The younger generation should really look at that as a core value inside themselves, be it in clinical, be it in generally in life. I hope I have reached out to Manjunath. If not, still welcome. You can have my email ID and be in touch with all of us.
Yes, sir. And many, sir, Jennifer Pao has questioned that, sir, do you think that every nurse can work in emergency department?
Very interesting question. Jenny, 1 5-star for you, but you have to buy an because I am not there with you. Okay. I don't, this is my personal opinion. I don't see, not only with the department. See, everyone has have a mindset, a style. Okay. For example, take I'm not like that. If I am a person very calm, I would like to listen to a lot of people. I want to touch and hold and that. Then for me, ideal is that go to an oncology or a rehabilitation center, listen to people, like that I can go. Now, if you're a person who adrenaline pumps, you want to work like adrenaline, you have to be in. So it is a mismatch. You put an adrenaline pumping person to a rehab center, actually stand long, the person gets burned out. Said, oh my God, how long will I be standing? And you put this the quiet person into emergency, don't finish. She says, thank you. One day I'm doing migrate voluntary retirement. She will not. Okay. So it's a mismatch. I had a staff who kept on talking. She kept on talking, all the time talking. I said, you cannot keep on talking in emergency. No, you need to make a note. Monosyllabic word. Okay, much talking. Finally, I moved it to the so that she scrubbed there, the mask, and scrubbed there and stands there. So I don't know, but the point is, no, not all for emergency, not for ICU, not all for oncology. Pediatrics, yeah, there is a personality for pediatrics. It's a baby, you know, lullaby. I can't lullaby. You ask, I think I'm not good in pediatric, I think so. But most when baby cries, you see at home whatever the father does and the mother does. Mother picks up the baby, very patient, give it to father, 2 minutes only. Why are you keep on crying like this? And you give back to the mother. It's a difference. I feel you have to find yourself according to your personality, but in India, that doesn't happen like that. Any other? Any other question?
Yeah, sir, Rosie. Yeah, sir, Rosie has asked, is it not possible to work in emergency with zero knowledge, emergency and trauma center?
Rosie, where is Rosie? I don't know. It's a Rosie. I come to your home and can I cook food for you with lunch or with zero knowledge of how to switch on the stove? Okay. I personally think zero knowledge is okay. No enters with 100% knowledge. I began my career in 96. I was an orthopedic nurse in an orthopedic ward. I was getting trained in trauma nursing in Oxford and Minneapolis. I came back day one when I entered. First 3 days I had migraine headache. Full trolley sound, noise, blood and medico-legal fighting. I said, oh my God, why did I go for trauma nursing? But my knowledge was 25%. Now, do you think I am 100%? No, still I am 25 to maybe 45, maybe 60. Okay, so you can't say 100% only should come in. No, but zero can under supervision. Okay, you say nobody can enter with 10% experience. So you can come in with zero, but with supervision. So you become 10%, 25, then you supervise next zero. So you become like a, but welcome under supervision. I reverse the question back to you. If I am the patient, okay, and if I am your grandfather, and if you are with the zero experience, can I be comfortable with you? Okay, personally, no. That's exactly what. Welcome under supervision, but pick up your experience. Okay, but I would only say one important thing to work in emergency and trauma: your passion, your interest. That is the most crucial thing. You get that. See, many people make a mistake. People think knowledge is everything. No, knowledge is secondary. Do you know what is primary? Curiosity.
Right.
Curiosity and your imagination is what makes the knowledge. Where does literacy come from? Literacy comes from illiteracy. Okay, it never came to literacy. If illiterate only started boo, something, then it became ABC. Okay, so that's how the whole stuff. So if you're curious, if you're passionate, that's what I tell with due respect to gold medalists. If there are any gold medalists listening, apologies. With due respect, when staff come to me, I tell them, I'm not concerned whether you are gold medalist or a best outgoing student, but I'm more concerned about your interest in the field of trauma, in the field of emergency. Get in, let's move together. Okay, so that's how you'll have to work your way out. I think we should have had more interviews.
The last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The last question is, sir, in your view, it is from Jed Mir. In your view, is it important to train every nursing officer in ACLS, CPR, PALS before posting to emergency and critical care department?
Who asked the question?
Zed Mir, sir.
Sorry?
Zed. Name is Zed.
There. Okay, I didn't get the name, but it's okay.
Zed Mir.
I have two concepts. I don't know whether you agree with me. Number one, every Indian should undergo military training. This is my rule number one. Then only we will learn the value of discipline. After +2, 2-year military post. Okay, I am an NCC, National Cadet Corps. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, CPR is mandatory for all the staff. BLS mandatory for all the children from 10th standard onwards in India. For everybody in India should be BLS certified. NSS, NCC, all the people should be BLS certified. I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why I'm telling you this is mainly because, the reason why I'm telling you because when there is an accident at 10 o'clock. You call for ambulance. The ambulance comes at 10 or 10 minutes. So this is the event. The immediate responder comes in 10 minutes time. So even to arrival of the first responder, there is a 10-minute gap. Now 10-minute gap, nothing is done for the victim. So that is called a silent gap. So people lose blood, go into complication, and even die on the spot for the 10 minutes. So today the global concept is immediate responder, the public, first responder, the paramedic, emergency responder, the emergency department. So from the even 0 minutes, the public get into control. No ATLS, no stop. Look at this way. If everybody is trained in BLS, okay, then the whole thing completely different. Okay, so you start off and then take it. So when staff join the emergency department, it's good to be trained. If not, as they come in, they have to start. Safer for the patient, for them all.
Thank you, sir. Our participants were too much interested after listening to your talk. And they have asked so many questions, and thank you very much for giving all the answers. I hope they must understand the safety culture, what you have told with all the practical views, so that they will be applying in their departments. Thank you very much, sir. So now I welcome Dr. Thi Drathana from far from Thailand. She is assistant professor, deputy dean for academic affairs, faculty of nursing, College of Asian Scholars, Konkan. She has done her PhD, and she is amid in educational evaluation, and from Thailand. And she has headed so many responsibilities. Along with, she was deputy director of nursing in the Chayapam Ram Hospital. And I welcome you, ma'am, in this international webinar on patient safety. And she will present in the quality assurance in the emergency department. I welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you, Skuntala. Good evening, everyone. I am Thida Latlet Vitayakun from Thailand. Thank you for the invitation from Indian Society of Emergency and Cardiac Nurses on patient safety in emergency department. In quality assurance in emergency room is very important. Okay, I need for sharing.
Yes, it's allowed, ma'am.
Okay. You can share for me, or okay, I share. Okay. Now I am working.
Please, ma'am, please make it full screen.
Stop sharing.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Okay.
Try one more. Please share again.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Press F5 button. Press F5 button, or yes, that's great. Press that button.
Are you okay?
Okay. Yeah, it's fine now.
Yeah. Okay, now I am working as a nurse instructor and have been experienced in the emergency department. And currently, I still have supervision of nursing students in the emergency department. Today, I'm going to share my experience in nursing quality assurance in the emergency department. And I have the knowledge and experience from the emergency department from Khon Kaen Hospital, which is a large provincial hospital with 1,500 beds. Okay. I will present 4 aspects of nursing quality assurance follow about referral system, screening system, protocol, nursing standard in emergency room, and risk management in emergency room. Okay, before presentation, now I stay on the northeast of Thailand in Khon Kaen province. This is Khon Kaen Hospital and my college of Assuarance. Yeah. Okay, this is nurse team in emergency room from Khon Kaen Hospital. They are very smart and they are work with multidisciplinary in the emergency room. Yeah. Okay. Quality assurance in emergency room. Okay. In the first,นะคะ. Next, the goal is of ER room. ER goal is to provide patients with fast service in both emergency and accident. The patient to receive standard service in diagnosis, treatment, and nursing care. So patient and their family get safe and satisfied with the nursing care. In Thailand, there is a system for 1669 emergency call ambulance is free service to take patient to the hospital. For fast and quality care of patients, there is a fast track system such as stroke fast track, STEMI fast track. And so when the patient arrives the emergency room, we are using screening system to classify patients in ongoing to care. There are appropriate for their severity of symptoms. Of course, in the situation of COVID-19, we must screen COVID-19 by ATK and then screen severity level of symptom triage screening. Okay, in the screening system, nurse manage quality control by starting screening COVID-19. If the result is positive, there will be a COVID-19 team for patient care and move the patient to the negative room. But if the COVID-19 is negative, we are to, according to severity level as follow to zoning or classify the patient management. Okay, in Khon Kaen Hospital, we classify severity of patient for 5 levels. K1, K2, K3, K4, and K5. Okay. K1 require resuscitation for safe life within 5 to 15 minutes. And K2 emergency. Okay. The safe life within 30 to 60 minutes. Okay. K3, K4, K5 is level of urgency, semi-urgency, non-urgency will be need to take care within 2 to 4 hours. Then transfer the patient to the next station. K1 and K2 level, we transfer patient to continuing care to the intensive care unit or trauma center or emergency operating room. And K3, 4, 5 will transfer to continuing care at observation room, ward, or discharge. Okay, before transfer the patient out of the emergency room and continuing care, the quality assurance of safety patient before leave the emergency room, we will to check 5 checklists before transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is A, B, C, D, E. A is airway, breathing, circulation, disability, and equipment. Okay, we will to look at some detail of each side of the checklist as follow. Airway in the emergency room. The patient, we will check security of endotracheal tube, okay, such as size of endotracheal tube, position of tube, and check sedative, and double check from the medical doctor for sure and make sure for the safety for the patient, and check sedative duct for use in the patient, suction creates secretion for clear airway, and check cuff leakage, and check ventilator system if we need to use it. Okay. By the way of the breathing, we will check oxygen tank volume. When we transfer the patient to the ward or the next station, we will to have enough oxygen for help people. Okay. And check oxygen saturation of the patient. In the circulation, we will check IV line and leakage. Check high alert duct when used in the resuscitation, such as adrenaline, dopamine, Wobbutrec. Check vital signs about the heart rate, hypertension, dyspnea, temperature. And monitor EKG and vital signs in unstable in cardiac arrhythmia or unstable angina patient. We use full monitoring about blood pressure, EKG, oxygen saturation, ET carbon dioxide, or in patient of the post-cardiac arrest. In disability, the nurse will check Glasgow Coma score before transfer about conscious, motor power, response, and pupil before transfer to intensive care unit or trauma center. Okay. And finally, we will check equipment for need to the patient. Check ICD system when the test trauma, and check and strap sensitive polycat before leave the emergency room. Check patient document for history for treatment in the emergency for provide to them, and check patient valuable asset before leave from emergency room, right? In the finally, we make sure about the quality assurance of the patient safety. We have a three concept in the 3 Ps, that the patient safety. We in ER, in emergency room, the nurse focus on the patient center, because the ultimate goal of the ER, that is the patient safety, the first. And personal safety, the nurse, doctor, and the personnel in the ER to safety from COVID-19, from infection, from medical error, everything. And so people safety, that is mean the family of the patient, that is very safety. Have a good information, have a treatment information for the patient. That is very good for the risk management and keep for quality assurance in emergency room in Khon Kaen Hospital. Thank you for the supervisor and his nurse in the emergency room Khon Kaen Hospital. for give me information to share knowledge and experience from Khon Kaen Hospital in Thailand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. It reminds, after seeing your presentation, it reminds me all my memories when I was in Khon Kaen
Yes,
in
Khon Kaen.
2017. Yeah, we were there in Khon Kaen University, and how you were managing the patients with the safety standards in your emergency department. So thank you very much, ma'am, for enlightening us with your quality assurance methods, which you are focusing in your hospital along with the emergency department. And thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your invitation.
So now we have reached to the end of the session, and it's being my great pleasure with being with all of you. And I thank all my eminent speakers who enlightened us with the knowledge and practical aspects in how we should design patient safety in the healthcare processes, so that we should be able to prevent the errors which the patients are harming, so that we should improve the system. And I would like to pay my deep respect to all the participants for your positive participation and asking the questions. And I hope that you all have understand the importance of the including the patient safety in the healthcare system, and specifically in the emergency department. So now I would like to give you some instructions for the post test. So a post test link will be there in the comment box, and link will be available just soon after ending the session. You'll be able to see the link. Certificates will be issued within the 1 month of the session. So if you don't get the certificates after 1 month, just contact with us. The next webinar will be on 2nd of April on the neonatal emergencies, and minimum of 11 marks is needed, and candidate can watch the videos and learn and reattempt the questions and link. And please like, comment and share and subscribe the channel. So you can we'll try to give you the certificates within the 2 weeks, and if you don't get, then you can just contact us. So thank you all to attending the webinar. Thank you.